Donald Trump appears unwilling to take his finger off the trigger, even as fresh diplomatic efforts with Iran gather momentum behind the scenes. New details are now emerging about what reportedly forced Donald Trump to suspend U.S. strikes on Iran after 13 straight days of relentless military operations. As hectic diplomatic parleys continue inside Iran and across the Gulf, all eyes are now on whether Mojtaba will agree to halt the escalating wave of attacks. U.S. President Donald Trump may have paused military strikes on Iran for the moment, but reports suggest the pause comes with one uncompromising condition attached. Donald Trump reportedly ordered a halt to the strikes after 13 consecutive days of attacks to create a narrow window for renewed diplomatic negotiations. However, Trump told Axios that American military operations would immediately resume if the latest diplomatic effort with Iran collapses once again. The U.S. president warned that Washington is prepared to launch very strong military action if the ongoing talks with Iran ultimately fail, Axios reported. Trump also insisted that Iran must move quickly toward an agreement, warning there would soon be no opportunity left for further negotiations. The U.S. president further revealed that multiple international mediators played a crucial role in persuading Washington to temporarily halt the strikes. Donald Trump said, and I quote, "We are in very deep talks with Iran. If they don't work out, we will go back to very strong military action. Not much time. Either it goes fast or not at all. All of the people that deal with Iran asked me, don't fire. Nothing gained, nothing lost." End quote. Trump made these remarks just ahead of his scheduled meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on July 28, adding fresh significance to the diplomatic push. The U.S. president also claimed that Israel would have been destroyed without direct American support during the ongoing conflict, according to Axios. Meanwhile, indirect negotiations between Iran and mediator Oman are continuing behind closed doors, as diplomatic efforts intensify to prevent further escalation. Qatar, Pakistan, Egypt, and several of Trump's own envoys also said to be actively participating in the complex negotiation process, Axios reported. Despite Trump's decision to pause military action, Iran's supreme leader Mojtaba Khamenei is reportedly pursuing a very different agenda for the conflict. Reports have emerged claiming Iran will continue raining missiles across the Gulf despite Washington's decision to temporarily halt its military campaign. Iran has reportedly ruled out waiting any longer for revenge and is instead preparing to move decisively into what it calls an offensive phase. The remarks were reportedly made by Iranian parliament member Fateh Hossein Maleki while outlining Tehran's evolving military posture. The Iranian official firmly rejected the prospect of further peace talks with the United States and instead vowed that more attacks would follow. Maleki also warned Gulf nations that they could soon face devastating blows delivered by Iran's armed forces, according to reports. Iran's army, along with the country's broader armed forces, remains on the highest level of alert while preparing for possible future strikes. Meanwhile, Iran's foreign ministry has categorically rejected suggestions that any negotiations with the American side are currently underway. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Esmail Baghaei insisted that Iran never made the first move to resume diplomatic contacts with U.S. officials. Iran also made it unmistakably clear that Mojtaba Khamenei will not allow America to dictate either the timing of war or the conditions for peace.
We consider the United States responsible for the military aggression against Iran, the military aggression that began on February 28, 9, and of course, we cannot overlook the participation of some countries in the region in this military aggression. From the outset, we have said that we have no involvement in the conflict between Ukraine and Russia. This action by Ukraine was also an absolutely illegal and unjustified act, contrary to the Charter of the United Nations, and a dangerous act of adventurism that will certainly not go unanswered by us. We have never allowed and we will never allow the United States to determine when there is war or peace. We will defend ourselves whenever our interests require it, whenever our circumstances require it. Whenever we believe we can use diplomacy as a tool to safeguard our national interests, we will certainly use it as such. These are negotiations between Iran and Oman. Several rounds of negotiations were held on Friday and Saturday. They were useful negotiations on how to manage the passage of shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. No. Do not pay much attention to the media speculation. As I said, we currently have no negotiations with America. The negotiations that we have, and which may genuinely be subject to different interpretations, are the negotiations we have with Oman. They are focused on creating the necessary arrangements regarding the Strait of Hormuz.
Iran's remarks come after Donald Trump paused U.S. strikes following 13 consecutive nights of sustained military attacks. Trump reportedly suspended the bombing campaign to give Oman and Iran an opportunity to hold negotiations focused on the Strait of Hormuz. However, fresh reports have also emerged suggesting American troops are confronting an increasingly serious munitions crisis as the conflict drags on. Donald Trump rejected reports claiming the U.S. was running low on munitions during the conflict, dismissing the assessments as inaccurate. Trump said the United States possessed far more munitions than any other country and more than it currently required. Earlier, the Wall Street Journal reported General Dan Kane had warned senior officials about declining U.S. air defense interceptor stockpiles. Meanwhile, Qatar and Oman discussed diplomatic efforts aimed at implementing the recently announced U.S.-Iran Memorandum of Understanding. Qatar urged all parties to pursue dialogue and safeguard freedom of navigation through the strategically vital Strait of Hormuz. As diplomatic contacts resumed, Al Arabiya reported China worked with Pakistan to help revive U.S.-Iran negotiations. Axios reported that CENTCOM chief Brad Cooper also urged ending strikes around Hormuz after the campaign had reached its objectives. According to Axios, Cooper assessed that the operation had significantly degraded Iran's ability to conduct maritime attacks. Cooper reportedly said most designated military targets had already been exhausted during Operation Epic Fury, Axios reported. Without launching a broader new offensive, Cooper reportedly concluded that extending the bombing campaign would serve no meaningful military purpose, Axios reported.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Have you ever wondered what happens when a banking dynasty meets tides of world history, intrigue, and a dash of myth?
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.